Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I want to do a quick video here on what you can do if you think the market's going to go down. Now, over the past week in Meta, we've taken a 7.63% hit. We're coming off of highs of 739. So actually a little bit before that, we were at a peak here of 739. I am proud to say in a different account, I sold almost at this peak. I timed it just right, which is kind of funny because I almost timed the bottom of that account just right too. I had it at $92. I think it dipped to 89 like 3 or 4 years ago. Anyways, that's neither here or there. The question is now is that we're seeing a drop, and I don't really want to sell my Meta stock. What could I do though to protect myself if I think there's going to be more of a drop, right? So how can I hedge my bets? Well, of course, you could always buy some put options, but there's also something else that you can do. And that involves what's called a wheel strategy. I've discussed it on here before, but I haven't discussed it in this context. And that would be buying a deep in the money covered call, or sorry, selling a deep in the money covered call. So here we can see, like, let's just go out a month. We have Meta. So let's just say in the next month, I'm worried, that there might be a crash of like 10 to 15% because when things drop, they seem to drop pretty quick. So I can come on here, I can sell a call, and I can see that right now at strike price, 662, a 670 call is selling for $20, right? And so this gives me upside protection to 690. So that means that I won't be losing any opportunity income until I hit like 691 roughly. And it gives me downside protection of $20 on the share price right now, 662, which is down to 642. Now, that's not much downside protection though, okay? So when you're looking at this, you have to balance what you're comfortable with for upside protection against your downside protection. And I want to give you my thinking on this. And I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do, but I might do something tomorrow. I'm waiting to see if we have a little bit of a dead cat bounce. We've had 4 really bad days, right? Trump, Elon, their craziness is starting to tank the market. It's like, guys, you had one job. Why can't you do it? Whatever, they can't do it. They're starting to tank the market. Hopefully, I'm hoping that can come back, right? That all of a sudden we're just going to pop back. But if not, I'm going to have to make a decision because I want to protect my Meta shares. I don't want to have to trim them anymore. And in order to do that, I'm going to be looking at selling a deep in the money covered call. So what would that mean? That would mean that if I think in the next month, because again, when things drop, they drop quick. And by the way, this is not financial advice. This is purely for entertainment purposes. Please do not do anything I do. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor in any mechanism whatsoever. Do your own diligence. Okay, you're taking the risky, you do the frisky. So what my plan is to kind of gauge how I think the market's going to go. If we hit another 5th day of drops, well then I'm definitely going to be looking at this. I'm going to say, okay, what am I comfortable with? Because I'm really up on my shares. I'm out of here. So you can say, well, I could just sell a stock right now, but I don't want to sell. Okay, so what I could do is come down here, for instance, and say maybe I think I want 5% protection, which would be on this $33. So let's just say 35. Come down to 625 a month out. Maybe I even go another week just because a month isn't, might take more in a month. So let's just say I think in the next 6 weeks it's going to happen. It's going to, if it's going to drop, it's going to drop in the next 6 weeks. And I want to have at least 5%. So I'm going to be looking right at the 625 mark. And we see, because I go out a few more weeks, we can see that my upside on this, now I'm getting paid $52.75. So that's one contract would be $5,000, right? And so I'm breaking even at 678. So if it goes above, because remember, strike price is here is 625. So at 678, I got to sell anything above this. So let's just say it jets up to 700. I'm going to lose out on opportunity income of $2,200. Okay. And you always got to think about that when you do a covered call. However, if it drops 5% in that time, I'm covered all the way down. I'm actually covered down a little bit more than this. Okay. You might say, well, your strike price is 625, right? But that's not what I'm covered to. I'm actually covered $52 off of 662, right? So I'm actually covered all the way down to 610. Okay, so it's technically a little bit more. I'm just looking at strike price as 5%, but actually my protection on this is more like 7. So I'm covered all the way down to 610, about $52 down, maybe like 7.5. So that is pretty nice. So imagine that, and this is considered a bearish play, right? Because I'm expecting the shares to drop. And so if it's dropped, let's say it dropped 10%, okay, then I just covered. So if it dropped 10%, that'd be 660, $66. So it would go down to like 600, let's just say roughly. And I'm covered all the way to 610. One, I'm going to be able to keep my shares. And two, I got paid $5,275 here that I'll be able to keep the whole thing. And I'll have only lost, because that takes me down to 610 from where it was at the share price. Because remember, I'm just calculating from what the share price was at the time. That's all I can do. And it covers me down to 600, or sorry, 610. So I've only lost $1,000 instead of losing $6,600. Okay. So you might say, well, God, this sounds like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you do that? Well, because if this is just a blip in the market and it comes roaring back, which, when the market does come back nowadays, it just comes back real quick. Say popped up to 730. It's possible that is a previous high, or 700, or just say 730. I'm only covered on the top side here to 678. So, I mean, that's the balance you gotta look at. So you might say, well, that's pretty good. Well, no, I mean, 678 means that from my current position, I'm only covered roughly $17 more, $20. Let's just make it easy, $20, which is of 660 is, what is it? 3%. So 10% would be $6.60. Yeah. So it'd be like 3, which isn't, 3%, 6 weeks. How many 6 weeks periods are there in a year? 52 divided by 6.5, roughly. So yeah, I mean, I'm still making like 21% return or something, which is good. Definitely good. Right. And if it happens, I can just get back into the wheel cycle. I can say, okay, well, I hope it's going to go down. But the problem with that then is that I'm selling I'm going to be doing cash secured puts. And if Facebook keeps rising, I can't get back in. It's not a big deal. That's what the wheel cycle is. But sometimes on these stocks that are a little bit more volatile, it can be hard to get back in. So I don't know necessarily that I do that, so maybe if I give myself a little bit more upside protection. So like, let's just say, hey, I want at least $30 upside protection, 655. See, here's where they just price these perfectly, right? Because if I have 5% on the upside, 660. So if I'm looking at $30 up, right? Then on the downside, 34.35 from this price. So 5%, 5%. That might not be too bad. This actually might be a pretty fair contract. So now if I have 5% here and I collect that whole 5%, then I'm doing pretty good, right? So let's say it goes to 700, 5%, we're at 6.5%. So 5, that's 32.5% annual. That's good. I mean, Facebook is returning more than that. But then I should be able to get back into it. I could be a little more aggressive. And I'm still covered all the way down. Where was it? 35 from this roughly. Down to 625. So, right? So if it goes to 600, I've lost a few grand, but not too bad. So if it takes a 10% drop, I'm losing about 5% and not getting crushed. So that is a strategy, but remember, it's a bearish play. If you think the market's going to soar up, then you don't do this, okay? I mean, maybe you come way out and you say, oh yeah, I'll take this $130 at 810. because if it goes up there, I'm going to make $15,000 anyways, right? You know, of course, I mean, why would you sell this $139 if it's going to go up this high? It might go up to 900. I don't know. These way out of the money covered calls like this around earnings, they pay a little bit better, but I mean, now I don't know if they'd be worth it. I guess some people might say it's just a nice residual income, but you know, you have $60,000 worth of stock you got to hold on to for $1.39, $139. Of course, if it goes down, you might collect the whole 139. It's a very small percentage. So anyways, I wanted to share that with you. That's something I'm thinking about doing personally. It's a little bit late over here. We'll see tomorrow how it goes. I'm really hoping for a dead cat bounce. If a dead cat bounce happens, I still might do it. Because let's just say 661 and tomorrow the market opens and we have a 5% bounce, which is very possible. It's nothing for these stocks to do 5% in a day. And we come to 690, right? Now I can be like, well, my 5% on top of this, that takes me up to 725, which is almost at the peak. And I can give myself 5% downside. And I would like that better, to just kind of be touching that peak. So that's kind of the hope that I have, is that we have a nice movement tomorrow of, 3-6, or tomorrow or in the next couple of days of like 3 to 6% on the upside, kind of getting back some of this from the last week. But if it looks like it's going to dump, then I'm going to give myself some downside protection. Again, because I want to keep the shares. So remember, you can always sell the shares. You can always trim. I've been trimming too. But this is another strategy you have. Because like with these, it's like, man, I kind of just want to keep them, Because you know how it is when you sell shares. It's a psychological thing too, right? It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm out of this position. I'm not a day trader, so it's not like I'm entering exit positions on the same stocks over and over again. So anyways, that's the thought I put out there for you guys. You have a great day. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Not an investing channel or not investment advice. Oh, if you like this kind of content, please hit like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,500 subscribers. Catch my son.